Brick City risen, bankroll efficient.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Brick City's finest. You already know, JD Williams. I'm right here with you, kicking it. What it is that I'm trying to get into is that I was about to record something else, and then I said to myself, "Hey, you know what?" Well, actually, what happened was that I started thinking about the last video, and there was something that I missed, and I started putting together. Like I said, if you watch the last video, I'll figure out how to put one of those cards up so you can go and click on it and check it out. I'll do that. But and look up in the upper one of them upper corners. I'll put it somewhere up there. But main thing is that last thing I pointed out in that video, that it was something that was kind of on my mind a lot and for a long time, and there was this correlation that I've thought about before, but just recently it actually as I've been analyzing that video, as it's been on my mind, it's something that I didn't touch on before that was there. First off, I gotta give so much respect to the legends, Robert Townsend, Keenan Ivory Wayans. There's so many writers, directors, comedians that I grew up with that deserve to be in that real legend box. And also not just because they were funny, it's because they put in the work to put out a message, to create coherence and create this realm where you can express and touch a whole group of people. But that's what Robert Townsend just made me that's the tangent. Just saying his name made me go on. So, that being said, Robert Townsend created this movie. For those who do or do not know, I'm just going to rehash. It's called Hollywood Shuffle. And in that movie, there was this scene where the film was about him being an actor or attempting to get into acting, and he had an audition, and he was playing this really, really, really super stereotypical role, and even back then, and it was overplayed and embarrassing, and anybody ever get a chance to watch Hollywood Shuffle, I'll just say go watch that. So while I'm doing the scene on The Wire, nope, I still got to take it back. One of the things I told myself when I got into acting, there were several things, don't, if you're confused, remove yourself, because it's either a trick or you're not supposed to be there. If it's something that you told yourself you weren't going to do before you got into here, and you may be getting blindsided, don't do that. So, hey, what's going on, Raul and Shay J? How y'all doing? So there was always this way that I was like I said, that's part of things that I covered in the previous video. This one right here is pretty much in real time, and I'm getting reminded of a scene when I already thought, if I become an actor and, if I really want to act, this is a situation that when it comes up, this is how I will handle it. In the movie, for those who don't know, Hollywood Shuffle by Robert Townsend, in the movie, um, the lines are, "You killed my brother. I loved it him. You killed my brother," and it was very uh, denigrating and detrimental the way that the directors and the writers and everybody was telling him how they wanted him to say it. But this was his big break. He had his family on set, and it was dope. It was, and that's not ever where I wanted to be, saying something that I didn't want to say. So, the addendum, the reason for this video is because I subconsciously, or I forgot to mention Hollywood Shuffle, but there's always been this subconscious checkpoint in my head because of that movie, and that scene pretty much stepped over that checkpoint for me, and I stepped over that checkpoint. However, like I said, I was thinking about it and then analyzing it. At the time, excuse me, even though I am a writer, at the time, I really didn't have anything succinct and, dare I say, better than what David Simon wrote at the time. For those who don't know who David Simon is, look him up. However, now, at this period in my life and where I am and doing that, I could say the line still and come up with something in time that won't take away from and when I say in time, I mean, you get like 54 minutes for an episode of something, or maybe 56, so if somebody has to leave in, if you can't squeeze in your little ad-lib or whatever you throwing in there, it's gonna get cut. Or scripty, the person who's watching the script, they're gonna come over to you and say, "Hey, just say the line." But if you could say something that wasn't written and it fits and it's in the time that it won't affect the editing and it improves the story, everybody on set going to be with it. And they might ask you or look for you to prepare them for that to happen, but then if you can do that, they'll be with it. So with that being said, which goes right back to my original video, I never wanted to get into acting and say lines like that. I didn't want to say that and do a scene like that. And that's what. And even at the time, I didn't think Hollywood Shuffle. Maybe I did, actually. I don't know. I'm not sure because it was so long ago. But I did get to have a nice 5-minute conversation on set during the scene with David Simon. And I understood where he was coming from. And the length of the conversation we had was enough to push me past. However, I would have loved to have added more to that scene. If I would have had to now give them that scene and still say the lines, I would say, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? You want to be an astronaut, a pay lawyer? And then I would let whatever the next line be, and then I would say, look, I need you. I'm out here. Nobody else is out here with me. You the only one that got any type of heart, man. And Marlo and them is on you too anyway, so do you rather be over there with them or over here with me? something along those lines. But like I said, at the time, it was already planned out. It was what it was, and you know. However, point of this video is me speaking about how doing that scene, doing those lines, lending my personage to that, how it made me feel. So, a broader point, I guess, to close this up on would be that, yeah, people traumatize themselves all the time trying to figure something out, trying to work with something, trying to go with the flow, maybe not having the experience to fix the flow, even if you know it's wrong. Luckily, a lot of people are strong enough, resilient enough to survive, even if it's not a full-blown mistake. It's just something that you have to, endure. It's something that you take on, and not to make this a whole like, oh, it was like something I was forced to do and it was the worst thing I ever did and da da da. No, because I totally understood and I appreciated and I saw it for what it was. Even if my character, which we discussed, was why my character was doing it. It's not about. I don't feel like I said it. I never felt forced because I never set myself up to be forced to do anything. So, however, I can get to a point where it's all on me when I agree, and that right there is something that maybe at the time, I was very young too, and maybe I wasn't prepared to improve on that scene the way that I would have liked to. I knew that I wanted to do something, but I wasn't sure on what I needed to do. But that's always just kind of been a little itch that I wanted to scratch. And like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't destroy me, I don't see that as a meme. I don't see people encouraging, or that's not the coolest line in the world. It's not Scarface, who do I trust? It's not anything like that. It's just, something that I hold accountable to myself, So that's all I wanted to add to that last video that I did. Like I said, it was just a scene with me, Tristan Wilds, who played Michael Lee, and it was the scene where my character Bodie on The Wire was trying to convince him to stay and not leave the corner. But like I said, character-wise, if anybody watched The Wire, which you probably here for, you already know that Michael Lee was already the top draft pick, he was already pretty much drafted by Marlowe already, and it wasn't like Bodie, even with him being kind of I used to always think of the way Bodie used to watch Stringer. Even though Stringer wasn't didn't teach him, he used to always in his mind think he would get to a point where he could emulate Stringer. That's how I used to think Bodie was coming up. So him recognizing Michael's potential and talent, and him saying he feeling older and just the experience and the responsibility that he had. He did have a modicum of understanding that Michael, might have been, there to hold him down, because that's what he needed, so, and if you talk about anybody else around him, anybody, as far as the show goes, you already know, Slim took everybody else who was there. Anybody else around was stragglers already, even Lil Kev and Day Day and everybody else, they were stragglers. And Poop was more concerned with, you know, more so really he would be there and he was going to hold it down. But Poop's character was a dude who was way more concerned with living a normal life than being on the corner. Like, so that's, you know, my general that was my general interpretation as we were doing it. So like I said, to that point, Hollywood Shuffle really is ingrained on me, and that scene, consciously or subconsciously, like I said, I don't necessarily remember every detail at the time. However, I do know that that was one of those checkpoints where it was like it was something that I had to, and it wasn't the first one. I mean, I had some on Oz. I had certain times when I had to say, like, look, like, you got to explain this to me or no, you know? And most of the time it was no. It wasn't a lot of times, but sometimes I had to just tell people, no, I'm not doing that, and we're not doing that. But yes, that particular scene, it affected me. I was already a grown up, you know. I wasn't no kid, you know. I was a grown up. And however, like I said, everything that I do as far as acting, I think about it, you know, the lines and the effect, you know, and the karma, the wave that comes back around. You know, you put bad out, you get bad in. You put, you know, and especially when you're believing it, you know, and or you're making or helping other people believe it, you know. So I'll go ahead and leave that right there. I want to thank everybody who got a chance to see this or hear this live, rather, because you know, I didn't know it was gonna be accessible, but I appreciate y'all. So if y'all here, I'll be here, as a matter of fact. And since I see 1, 2, 3 different names, I don't know if y'all are still here. I'll go ahead and throw it out and ask if anybody's here. If anybody has a question, I'll go ahead and answer a question before I get up off here. Let me give y'all a couple of seconds, and y'all let me know if y'all still listening. And if you got a question, go ahead and type it on there in the chat, and I'll answer. Let me try to make it interesting. Wow.
Brick City risen, bankroll efficient.
And I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere yet. I do have another. I want to jump out and then jump in a minute, because I do have a kind of a list that I want to get to. But like I said, I really appreciate y'all jumping in. Y'all probably jump back out knowing how I am, and y'all probably gonna check back in later. But like I said, I want to thank Raul, Shay J, and Tin Man. Peace to y'all, and everybody else that's checking me out right now and listening to it right now. You stayed this long, thank you too, and I will be back.